Hello, wonderful people out there. Good afternoon. And today too, I'm super excited to have come your way with today's edition of Back to the Sound Basics. I'm extremely excited. You know why? It's because anytime I get opportunity to come your way, it means we are going to learn one thing or the other. All right. So today we happen to have a very wonderful personality in our midst. Who will be handling a very critical issue with us. With me here is Dennis Tando, my able assistant. He is also in charge of design impact and all of our graphics. And today, let me just say that we are going to deal with certain critical issues here which have been confronting a lot of people in the music industry, especially in the sound industry. Over the years, people always, as I always say, people always do things without understanding the nitty-gritties and the technicalities of it. Today, we are going to touch on a very sensitive topic, all right? A very, very sensitive topic, which the guest who is going to have the discussion with me has a 10-year experience and still counting. 10-year experience. That tells you that he went into sound even when he was so young and so talented to do so. And he has been on major projects across the country. And today he's going to share his experience with us and a very good workflow that has helped him build himself up to this stage. He's a sound tutor, he's an audio engineer, he's a systems engineer, he's a professional engineer. Let me say it that way. Let me put it across that way. He's a professional engineer. He's a pro, okay? So I don't want to even go into most of his projects, but I know he now handles the Sound for Impact project, and he now also does a lot of these big stuffs. When you hear of Jumeto having a program, let me tell you what, he is the man behind the system calculations. Everything happens for there. He's a big fish. Don't worry, I'll introduce him to you when we come back from this short commercial break. All right? So, without much ado, let's take a very quick U-turn, and then when we come back, I'll introduce my guest for the day, and you know that he
I'm Kyle from Music Tribe Technical Support. I'm here today with Guitar Center to talk about the new Behringer Wing Personal Mixing Console. The Wing Personal Mixing Console is the new digital mixer from Behringer. The Wing is a fully stereo mixing console featuring 48 stereo input channels, 28 stereo buses, a 10-inch capacitive touchscreen, touch-sensitive rotary encoders, a 24 fader fully customizable control surface, and a new point-to-point routing system that allows you to select from 374 different inputs and outputs. The lighting on all of the scribble strips, LEDs, soft buttons, the patch panel in the rear of the console, and the underglow of the console can all be adjusted and personalized to how you like to work. With the flexibility, customization, and portability of the Wing, it's perfect for your touring act, house of worship, concert venue, or recording studio. The Wing I/O features 374 inputs and outputs, starting with the high-quality Midas Pro Series microphone preamplifiers, the 8 XLR outputs, an 8x8 quarter-inch TRS aux input and output section.
Okay. Welcome back from the quick commercial break. As I said earlier on, today we are moving on to a very sensitive topic today. And as I indicated, my resource person for the day is already heated for this particular job today. And I'm super excited to have known him from, I think, I've known him for the past, let's say, about 6 years now, right? If I'm not mistaken. All the way from KNUST through CCC and back to Accra. He's a very wonderful person, a person with a good heart and a teachable spirit, and he also teaches very well. This person that I'm talking about is the sound instructor for IMEX. IMEX is Intimate Mix School, a sound engineering school, as well as he happens to be the audio engineer for Streamline Pro Audio. Streamline Pro Audio. He's been doing wonderful things in the country. Talk about Cape Coast, Accra, Kumasi, the whole of Ghana. He's a wonderful person. And I can say confidently that he's one of our major system engineer in terms of sound engineering. He's a major system engineer in Ghana here. No better gig can never pass by without waving at him in Ghana. And I'm repeating, he's a big fish. So without much ado, let's welcome Caleb Ashon Katai, aka Toad. Wow. Daddy.
That's awesome.
Daddy, awesome, Daddy.
Wow.
How are you?
Wow.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Wow. The introduction alone, it's
Oh, but you be the boss, you be the boss, you be the boss.
Oh, wow.
You be the boss. Charlie Harvey.
By God's grace, so we're keeping up to the situation.
Thank God. Cry. Charlie, I'm excited to have you on this show.
I'm super excited.
Okay, so Caleb, what's up? What happened?
Today we're talking a little into workflow. We're talking about relationship. Part of relationship, we'll be talking about my routine that makes what I do work. Yeah, basically that's what we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Today.
Okay,
yeah.
That's powerful.
Then powerful. A little things came up. A couple of friends told me they wanted to talk about things. Okay, sure, done. So a few other people gave me some few topics, so I'll start that and push that into the time allocated for the show.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm sure it's going to be a great time today.
Yeah, I'm overly excited as well. Please let me just say that if you have any comments, questions, and suggestions, you can push it through the comment section, and we'll be glad to read them out, and we'll be glad to be giving you a shout out to all those who have been watching us, and we'll also be glad to take your comments and your questions. I mean, we also need suggestions as to how you want us to get on board with this whole project. And we want to touch lives. You know, Caleb, one of the things that touches me is that one day you just get up, wake up, and somebody tells you, hey, bro, your project that you're having it online is really blessing our lives, and then we are learning a lot, so keep it up. And for me, that is the joy. That is the joy.
Right.
Because if only one person is able to say that you are touching his life through what you are doing, I mean, I take big inspiration from it. And you being the daddy on this show, I know people will laugh a lot. So, bro, let's go through it. What are work ethics? I mean, when you talk about work ethics, what actually does it entail? Take it from there and then let's flow.
Okay, sure. So when we talk about work ethics, we are talking about the things that you as a personal person do with a certain standard of, let me say, output. Yeah, so how you carry yourself on the gig, the kind of things you do, at what time do you do it, like the style of doing it. It's more like a character of you as a person. Yeah, it has to do with the character of you as a person. So that would be work ethics as a whole. So to start with, I would just like to give some shout out to let me see who is commenting. Let me give shout out to. Okay, so to Benajima, shout out. Then Chris Kelly, shout out. Tina Julius, shout out. Then Samuel Tete, Charlie, that guy is a great guy. Charlie. Then strong ego. Charlie, powerful guy. Then I think Phil Nana Kwesi, yeah. So it's a good time to have all of you here. I'm sure we're going to have a great time. So I'll just start with the presentation, and it's going to start with some two questions. Okay, that's great. It's going to start with some two questions that people came up with for me to talk about just this morning. So let's talk about my first experience as an audio engineer, how things kind of got started. So as a child, I love audio. I love electronics. It wasn't directly audio engineering that I got into. I just love audio electronics, and I realized that when it came to things like music, when I tuned the radio, I got excited about music. And I think at that time, there was a station that they used to play just like music throughout, majority of the time. That's Atlantic's radio. They used to play music like throughout. And I think anytime I needed music, I just went there. And as a kid, it was, even though their music was kind of way different from what some of the things I do now, but it was a learning experience. At least I heard different types of music and all, but I didn't really get too much into the music as at that time. So there was a time that I just woke up and Dad brought a keyboard home and was like, "We're going to get a keyboard teacher to teach you guys how to play keyboard." So we are three in the family: myself, my brother, my sister, and I'm in between, so second. So we started with the keyboard classes, but it happens that no one was too interested in the keyboard classes. So it was only me that was showing up when the teacher came to teach the keyboard. We did the keyboard, learned a little theory, learned a little chords, and it was getting interesting. But I think the electronics was still like on the high. So if something breaks in the house, I open it confidently, check what's inside. Sometimes I'm not able to fix it, and the whole thing goes like condemned. Sometimes I fix it, and hallelujah, we get excited. So I used to go to my grandma's place sometimes, and Charlie, you go there, she has a lot of radios, they are all sports. So why not? Let me just give a shot. Open it up, let's see what I can do to it. So by the time I'm leaving her place, all the radios were singing. So it was a great way of kind of starting the whole thing. And all the radios were singing. So I think it was electronics, but electronics for radio got me like very excited. It got me very excited. So I started from church. That's how I started. I started from church. That was, I think, somewhere 2009 thereabout. Yeah, 2008, 2009 thereabout. So I started as I think when I started, that was when I got baptized. WhatsApp back to them. So from that one, I got interested. Like, okay, I need to serve a service group in the church. So which service group would be fine? And because electronics, Charlie, that was the closest I could go with electronics. That's join the technical team. So I joined the technical team, and I was like, oh, I've done a technical team. What do they do? Majority of what they did at that time was just the sound. So I was like, oh, it's a good time to jump onto audio engineering, and I just embraced it. So the first time I went to the team, it was, I think there was just one guy who was kind of doing everything. His name is Noah. He's a big guy. Like he's a guy that I really looked up to. Like, Charlie, since I've got someone like this, why don't I tap from him and Charlie learn a lot from him? Little did I know it was come to give me a bad news. So it was good news for him, but it was bad news for me because the first day I joined, I asked him, okay, so how do you go about things? What goes where? And so he showed me, okay, this is the input, and from the input it goes to this. If it's a subgroup, it goes to a subgroup. Then it comes to. Didn't really understand too much of that, but I was like, okay, at least I just follow the signal flow. Okay, so from here we go to here. It's just like following simple instructions. So I was like, oh, then it's fine. It seems interesting, and there's music in it, so why not? So around that time too, I think I played a little keyboard at church. Wasn't too great. Like, I'm not super great on keys, but at least I would keep up with a little for that. So I used to do a lot of background stuff. I realized that anytime I go to the console, like the second time I did it, I realized it was kind of inviting more than playing the keyboard. So what happened the second time was that the first time after he showed me everything, the next Saturday we're supposed to have rehearsals. I came around and he wasn't around, so I had to just fix everything. So I just tried to recall on what he told me. I fixed it up, and the system was running. So he came and he was like, "Oh, you've done the work." And I was like, "Yeah, I was trying my hands." And he checked everything. I was like, "Oh, it's just around where it should be." Then at that time, I wasn't into mixing, so I left that for him, and he did that because he was good at that. So the Sunday we had service and everything, and he told me that he's moving. He's going to another branch. When he said that, I was like, another branch, like it means you be coming here once in a while. He was like, no, he's going to another branch. So at that time, the church started a new branch, and I felt that, oh, I thought I'll be having a little more connection with such a person, and it didn't happen that way. So I was like, hey, Charlie, am I the only one going to be in this? Okay, so I started connecting with people, and I realized that connecting wasn't too easy because it it happened that some of the people around that time I knew weren't too deep into the thing. So the expectation I had was a bit on the high. So it took a while, years after, before I started getting connections to like some of the big guys around over here. Then I think fast forward, I realized something that anytime we have sound, we have administration from the choir church. The same song they give it to, we listen to it, and at that time we didn't do too much of referencing. I'll just ask them, so what song do you listen? Are you going to minister on Sunday? And they tell me, I go listen to it. Oh, this is a nice song. So I come the Sunday, and all I do is we do mixing as much as I knew. But as at that time, I didn't really know too much into detail. So I just did what I could. What I couldn't, I left it because I didn't want any trouble. I think at that time it was a Behringer 24 channel console I was using at that time. Yeah, it was a pretty much a simple console. The console that had two effect units inside it. So yeah, that was it. So the choir sang, and it didn't really translate like the way the mix translates. So that's why I started asking myself questions. What went wrong? And I started looking at things on the board more carefully, and I noticed that, oh, there were things written on the board that if I understood pushing the right fader will make them the move way better. So I got into it, and I started learning one by one. So I look at a word on the mixing console, I go check on it, and over the week I just play around. Okay, so what around this thing can I do? And I find some results. Sometimes you don't find results. I remember one of the first major things that I researched on was the EQ. And when we reached the EQ side, Charlie, the part that really got me a bit confused was the mid side where we could have the mid frequency changing. So that side, usually I just leave it at the flat. I don't touch it. But I realized that there's something that should be happening. I didn't really understand that concept, and at least the highs and the lows, you could feel that effect so easily. So I went into it, read a little. I think it took a while. It took a while because these things you have to be very accustomed to them in order to make a very like a flawless move. So I did that for a while, and I started realizing that now I'm able to shape the sound the way I wanted. So we started doing it, and I realized that okay, now sound was getting better. Even though it wasn't at the same level as the reference because we didn't have too much, but the little we had, we just made use of it, and it was a very simple PA. It was a passive. I got a privilege to start with a passive, so I got to understand a little more about passive processing. So it gave me, and I think the console at that time had a mono data which you can change the cutoff frequency. So we didn't use a crossover at that time. It was through that. That's how we fired our sub effect. So that's how we did it. And I realized that when we pass the sub through that, it's kind of clean and everything. So I think fast forward, we had an event at church, and actually the resources were very limited. And after that, my brother was starting a podcast and everything. So I said, why not? Let's go get these mics and a small mixing console, do a little recording, and play. So we're just playing around it and like weren't using the things too much. So when the event came, I just had a 4-channel analog console, and I was like, let me just add it to support because 24 channels. What we want to do is a little more. So let me just add it. So we added it, and that was like one of my first major experiences of how. I think it's
So fast forward, Tone.
Yeah, that's it. I'm here.
So fast forward. I mean, you have a very long journey with your audio, with your audio proness, all right? So right now, in your 10 years journey, that a decade louder that you have been, what are some of the ethical or some of the ethics that you deem fit that should be shared with us all so that we can all learn through it? I will be celebrating my 15 years in sound engineering, God willing, September next month. I told you.
I think I'm in August.
So, what are some of the sound ethics that we are supposed to go through? I mean, what are some of the things that we need to learn as sound engineers? The basics that should keep us going. All right, so that we can go through them all successfully. Then, along the line, I may ask 1 or 2 questions though, but if you can really get in touch with these ones.
Yeah, that's solid. So from that point in time, I started noticing that very little things go a long way to affect a lot of things, and started learning and reading, getting connected to people, attending events, which I think is one of the crucial things. If you want to start the business, you need to connect with people. You need to attend events. You need to know who is where and like understand what people are using as well and approach people are using and all. So fast forward, I came to see that Charlie, it's a systematic process we have to go through. So it's a systematic process we'll have to go through. And I think over the, let me say, 11 years and a few months, I've realized that there are things that I end up doing at every event, which will be what will be shared today on the broadcast. And some of the things will be relationship with musicians and artists, and the others will be my personal routine I use for my events as well. So just to start with the relationship with artists, there's one thing I always say: you listen to the artist, no matter what they say, listen to them, and listen to them include understanding the music. So understanding the music of the artist influence the music of the artist is going to influence your approach to either deploy the system or even in the mixing itself. So the first thing I would encourage you to go inside is to listen to the catalog of the artist. listen to what song they have, what style of song they've made in a long while, what what information they want to communicate to to the audience. Some artists want to communicate basically vocals. Some are vocal centered. Some are band centered. That's the music centered. Some are in between. So it's you want to know what they want to sound like and what they want to communicate with them. And it's not rocket science. It's just a matter of listening and just paying attention to the nitty gritties of the artist. So that's the first thing I would encourage you to do, to understand the music of the artist. And the next thing is to network with people in the industry. Network with people in the industry. You need to attend events. And let's say you are having the event as an audio engineer. I would always advise that try getting to the place first before anyone else comes to the place, so that you'd kind of take charge of the territory. It's a way of taking charge of the territory by approaching the event grounds first and knowing where what is where, knowing where power lies, knowing where cables can be passed, like all those little details you need to know. And in networking with people, it goes a long way to even musicians. You need to network with musicians. When you reach to the venue before them, anytime they come inside, you need to give them a hand. Just say hi. It's a long way to start a conversation. But let's say you reach to the place and the musicians are already in the place. It's always a good way to start it by approaching the stage. Just say hi to each member. You can choose to introduce your name. Oh, I'm Caleb. I'm Caleb. Then you just make, okay, so why Caleb? Why Caleb? And some conversation starts up. Like, just make sure you always try and raise a conversation so that you can connect with them, because connecting with them, it's the business we are in is more about trust. How do they trust they give you their signals? Because they are giving you signals with your, and what it means is that they are vouching for you to balance that signal as they want it. So the first thing you need to catch into their mind. I understand you guys. I know what you guys are doing in for. So let's work together. And like I said, the first one, listening to them, even through the process of work. And this is really critical, especially for mixing engineers. Um, these are for, yeah, yeah. Are we good?
You are having some little glitches with your network, so kindly retake that particular point again.
Okay, that's to the band.
I mean, getting familiar
Okay,
with the band and
okay,
creating
that's
that
fine.
very good network and communication with them.
That's fine.
All are features in your network, so
Okay,
the
okay,
viewers
sorry.
could not snapshot what you got.
Okay, sure. That's fine. So, so about with the band, I just let me re-echo it. So you get to the place and that venue of the event, the band already set up and they are good people. All you have to do is to get closer to them, get to know what gears they are using as well. There's a new thing I've added to it anyway. So get to know the gears they're using and the kind of way they want to portray the music to the people. Just have a conversation. And sometimes you may not necessarily need to talk too much about the gig itself. You can just talk, oh, how is this? And then sometimes someone may know. It's like, okay, we've never connected on that level, so it's good time to connect to that level. So just make sure that there's always a conversation going in, because if you start the event and everything is very tensed, you can't ask questions, they can't ask questions. Like there's no flow of like information. They can't really tell you what they want, and you can't really tell them what you want to. And it's vice versa. Like it happens for both sides. So it's very important to have that cordial with them. You know, that cordial. You have to make sure you have to stand firm ground when you need to stand it. So a firm ground, you need to balance. You don't have to be too much and forget about your details and not there. Yeah, so much you are just fun and all. No, you'd have to know that no, some things are core. Example, mic placement. Yeah, And you can't say that because he's your friend, you're not going to make sure the mic is going to be placed properly. It's going to cost you at the end of the day. So it's a mix of having your firm ground and also to having a flexible character to yourself. Yeah. So that's it for the networking side. And so, I don't know whether we have any questions.
That particular point, sometimes familiarity also sets in. People, people go like, oh, as for this guy, menena, so, but hey, to you out there, you just have to know that it's business first, okay? You create that familiarity based on the fact that you can communicate with the person and then flow with them, so that at the end of the day, you get what you are looking for, what you are there for, and then you also do the business as is supposed to be done. Thank you, Caleb. So in that case, some people usually make a point that, oh, sound engineers are much wrong. I mean, they show off. They are pompous, they are arrogant. Look at the way they even talk. So in this case, what if, as you are going there to say hi or even crack a little joke with them, and they kind of take it in bad faith or kind of give you a certain look? What do you do as a sound engineer for the day? Whether you are going to be the mix engineer or the stage engineer, what do you do then?
I think I've heard of that before. I've heard of that before, but I think it's two things. It's two things. What you are talking about, how true it is. If it's not true, what is it about it? I think let me tell you something point blank. The job we do is music itself. It has a huge psychological effect on a human being, because you are in a state that you are paying so much attention to kind of details someone may not be paying attention. Trust me, after a gig, you get tired, you don't want out, and just like things can get a bit frustrating sometimes. But you see, it's a learning process. Usually, if you're a sound engineer, you feel that kind of tension till a point that you find your sound. Once you find your sound, then you trying to hide it. So I think it's a psychological effect to it. But I think it's unfortunate for some of us to be like that, and we are that will not be rude anymore if that's the case. But as if any sound engineer is here, I'll just tell you, trust me, if you are rude, you will not get a gig.
Sure.
If you are rude,
A punchline: if you are rude, you will not get a gig.
Okay, you have to, no matter what they say, Charlie. You can hear terrible things, but make sure you have what goes into heart and what you are able to work on. There are some things when it happens like that and Charlie, the person talks about, I've friends, I'm like, hey Charlie, see what's up, see what this guy is saying, how true it is. Can we kind of, I think the person is saying something truthful. Let's work on this side. You have friends who will tell you the thing as it is as well, so that you can also to grow with that, because you need a critic, you need people to talk about what you get. Yeah, but I think when it comes to that, it's sometimes unfortunate, like Charlie. It's a character thing. What I'll just tell you that if you want to get a gig, you have to have a decent character. No one would be on a gig with someone who doesn't have a decent character. But in having a character, you have to be firm. Like, especially example for me, we can have all the fun, but once it's sometimes it happens that somebody after the gig told me that, oh, he came to say hi to me. He didn't really see my response. Like, Charlie, the realms I was in was quite different. Like, you need to sometimes download from certain people. It was unfortunate. I can't really react to the people. You always have to reconnect to them. You always have to reconnect to them. So I think there's a way out. There's a way out.
Okay, so Caleb.
Yeah. I hope I answered that anyway
Yes,
well.
yes. Somebody on the Facebook said what Caleb is saying is pleasant, but on the ground, about 80% of sound engineers are rude. I heard him just keep.
I don't know how you got that statistics, but I'll be interested in that reason.
Okay, and he say, simple answer is that you are a sound engineer, not a basketman to go and create jokes with them. Okay, that's from Gadio Yamua. All right.
Sometimes you have to be flexible because I've been to events and fine, they know that okay, you get the sound and all, but it happens that they didn't talk about the sound. They just spoke about, oh, this guy was so good, he was fine with that, and that was the point. Then you felt that, oh, the sound was spotted. It was just fine. They don't have to worry about this extra icing on the cake. Very, very on a lighter note. It goes a long way to start.
Okay, Tone, please kindly take a breath and then let's take a very quick commercial break whilst we work on the glitches at the background. And then when we come back, we are going to talk about having a routine concerning your job on the field as a sound engineer. So your console preparations and whatever questions that come up, we will be sure to answer them. So let's take a very quick commercial break. This is proudly brought to you by MSAP Music. And today we are being ably supported by Streamline Pro Audio and then Audio iMix, as well as Design Impact. So viewers, will be right back in less than a minute or two. Stay tuned.
So what's so far? That's my body. I didn't hear when you come. They never perform. They never know what.
We are live now. Okay, welcome back, viewers. On this today's edition of Back to the Sound Basics with me, your host, MSAP. And today, my guest, as we have started from the long journey, is Calebashon Katai, aka Tone. He's a big guy, he's a big wild guy. His experience in the engineering fraternity is worth celebrating. If you are joining us from the start, you know where his brows really started from. Now, Caleb, let's continue with our conversation. Are you there?
I'm here.
All right, thank you. So now let's move straight to your routine. After you showing up to create some good networking, understanding the music of the artist, taking charge of your music by getting familiar, the venue, power source, players, gears, and what have you. Now, what actually are some of the things we are to look out for from a sound engineer, a pro engineer who has come to mix for the day? Is there any routine, special routine that you are supposed to go through? Like, what again do we have to look out for? What are some of those ethics that as a pro, when you get to the stage or when you get to the venue, people should look out to say, hey, yeah, this guy is a pro, he's done his checks and everything are right. What are some of the things that we should look out for after the social get together and all that you have done with your people? Okay,
sure. That's solid. So the things you should be looking at, those are the things that are directly related to, let me say, the technical aspects of our work. Even though our work is our work, I always say our work is two ways. It's art and it's science. They work hand in hand. You can't work in. If you work just science, you'd miss it. If you work just art, you won't miss it. So it's a combination of two things. So you have to mix the art and the science. So for that, I would just like to talk a little bit about my routine as a professional. So first things first, I have to know what the gig entails, what it's about. That's for the gig. I have to know the venue of the gig. It sounds so basic, but knowing those things helps you to make decisions like what kind of PA, what kind of speaker should I deploy in the room, what kind of even mixing points. Because if I know that okay, this band needs a 40 channel mixer, I'm not going to get them a 30. So that this band needs a 64, I'm not going to get them anything less than that, so that it gives you flexibility to execute a gig. So knowing little things like okay, how many instruments are they going to use, how many microphones, how many keyboards, just gives you an idea to prepare accordingly. Example, the number of people going to tell you that okay, then these are the number of DI boxes we are to set up stereo the inputs. If you are to do mono, then this is what you're going to do. So all those things tells a lot about it. And there are some times in some venues you may not be talking about stereo. There are sometimes you'll be talking about stereo. So you just need to understand all these things and maybe even the kind of power available. Is it enough to carry the PA? How stable is the power? If they are bringing a plant to supplement what's already in the room, what kind of plant are they bringing? What's the capacity of the plant? You do a little calculation and realize, okay, the plant can handle what I am delivering for the event. Then why not? It's a good goal. So from there, then I go to my console prep. The console prep is more like it's where a lot of things happen. So I do things in a lot of offline editors, depending on the console you use. But the good thing about that is most consoles now offer offline editors. So offline editors have the ability to program your show files before you go to, and sometimes you can even program the show file without the console. That's why we call it offline. So it gives you the opportunity to program the show files without the console. All you just need to do is to download that, install it, run it, and you just save it to your stick. That's a pen drive, and you load it on on the console proper when you get to the gig. But if you happen to have the console, why not? You can do that with a console as well. So that thing saves a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of stress, because just imagine you are in a gig and you have very little time to do very much. You have to do first things first. Charlie, what's the next shot we can do, and we are good to go. So you don't have too much time to be labeling your channels. You don't have too much time to be doing things like grouping your buses, your major buses. Definitely, you end up doing those things in the middle of the gig, but you've reduced that amount of work by preparing yourself before the event. You get it, and it's very handy. I think there are all the consoles out there that so far, I think you can most of them you can prepare your offline editors. I think with when you talk of the Allen and Heath, you have the iLive, you have the DLive. All of them have their platforms. You have the Midas Pro series, it has their platforms, and it just looks like the console itself, and it works. So I remember there was an event we had recently, and it's needed a certain amount of time and to do the work. And when I looked at the time we needed, Charlie, it was almost impossible for the things they wanted us to do. So okay, why not? My routine, just get the stuff they want, program it. Then what happened was that the guy doing the monitors too happened to be using the same stuff. So we just chose okay, he should start with the file, send it to me via email. Then I continue building up for what I want. So I just give little guidance that okay, you know something, don't group the stuff, just do the labeling. Um, that should be fine for me according to what you guys need. And usually I do the labeling with the so I create a patch to help improve that labeling and make sure that you can label things very more efficient. So we did that and he sent it to me and I just loaded it on my machine without the console being around and I was able to make those kind of changes I want. So when I reach the event, I know that okay, my major groupings, my major passing, my major DCAs, VCAs are all sorted. I just think of straight and we ran the gig and it was cool. It was cool. It saved us a lot of time. And the next thing we'll be talking about is the stage setup. And that's another crucial thing, how to set up the stage to get the best out of it. So that side, there's a lot of in and out because you're not running the gig alone. You're having it with light guys, you're having it with video guys, you're having it even with the artist manager, what he wants, what she wants. And you're having it with people who they are thinking of how many seats can we sell and everything. So some events you can push that, okay, let's bring the stage a little forward, let's take it a little back. You have to consider all those things. So it's a mix over there, but make sure you don't compromise on very basic things. Example, when you are talking about bleeding of signal into microphones, you are going to know that, okay, I don't put let's say a mic which is very sensitive for a lead vocal right behind or right in front of a drum. It's definitely going to pick up a lot of the drum as well. So whilst you're increasing the vocal, you're increasing the drum indirectly. So you use all those things to tell that, okay, we can do this, we can do that, and that's how the stage setup could be done. And you have to also to know that visibility is key for the video guys. So the fact that you want this, ask them, are you fine with this change I'll do? Down to the communication. So the first one we spoke about communication with the musicians as well. This one is communication with the production team. You need to all be on the same page, else it will be like you are in different island, we are in different island. We are all running the same gig, but we are running it from 3 locations, which is wrong. It should be from 1 location. So you want to everyone is in shape as much as possible. Also try and be very cool with them because Charlie, they can ruin you and you can also ruin them because it's a production. It's not just audio they are doing. You get it, visuals and inside. So after the stage setup mostly has to do with the positioning of instruments. So after I prepare my console, go to the event, the basic thing we do is, okay, this is where the drum is going to be, this is where the keyboard is going to be. We are doing double keyboards here. Let's use this kind of keyboard stand so that we can hold the 2 of them together. Unless maybe the musicians want us to break the keyboards for them so that they can play with 2 hands open or something, then we do that. These are the kind of mic stands we'll be using for these people. Like we take into consideration all those things before we set out on the gig. So we don't find ourselves wanting too much. And in as much as you prepare, definitely you're going to meet a lot of surprises. So I always say prepare as much as you can so that when you meet the surprises, you can have time to deal with them. Yeah. Then so the stage setup is basically the position of the instrument. Then the next thing usually in the step of the chain that I find myself in the output. So I do the output before the input. So the reason for that is whilst the guys on stage are doing the patching for the input, at that time I could be checking the output and making sure that, okay, what is going where is really going where it's supposed to go. And by the time we are done with the output checking, whether the patching is right, and the patching, we are talking about 2 types of patching. We're talking about the soft patch, we're talking about the hard patch. So the hard patch has to do with the physical connection of, okay, so we connect from output 1 from the console or from the stage box to, let's say, input of the monitor directly if it's an active or it's a self-powered monitor, or we connect it to meet the amplifier. So we could be looking at a lot of different things as at that side. Then the soft patching has to do with the internal patching on the console. So most consoles now gives you the flexibility to patch whatever I want to do to that output directly. So it's more like an input and output. It's a chart with a lot of boxes. So once you select, let's say input 1 and it's going against let's say mix 1, once you select that, it means that input 1 is going directly to mix 1. So you can do that also too and make sure that what you intend to do is like what you intend to take out is going to the proper output you want. So that's with the output patching. So after the output patching, by that time we are expected to be done with after checking the output patching, we are expected to be done with majority of the input patching. And usually it's like you start with a lot of you start with the instrument that has a lot to do with the mics in terms of the patching, so that you can finish those ones. But it doesn't change anything. You can start doing the keyboard first. You can start doing that first. So after the input patch, you are also going to do some soft patching, because depending on what you are doing, in some events we have the gain sharing, that you're doing from one stage box, and maybe you are sharing via Dante, we are sharing via AVB, we are sharing via maybe MADI connection. So you have to make sure that, okay, we test that sharing option. If you don't have that, and if you want to go to the regular analog way of sharing, okay, let's make sure that the sharing we are doing, monitor guy, what he's getting, I'm also to getting, and it's perfect. So you have scenarios that the monitor guy is getting the signal very good, and you, the front of house, are not getting it very good, or vice versa. So you have to make sure everyone is fine on that level. And so that would do with the input patching. Then the next side of the chain that usually I end up with is mic check, line check, mic check, line check. So you want to check the lines and make sure the lines are clean and the lines are capturing what you want them to capture. So that leads us to mic placement. You don't want to have the overheads showing up into the sky, and it's as though you are miking the skies. So you want it to mic what exactly you're miking. Yeah. So you want also to make sure that, okay, the example for drums, that thing plays a lot of role in it. So example for drums, you want to make sure that the drum mic is pointing to the right balance in between your attack and your tone of the drum, either tones, either kick, either snare, and also to the balance between the overheads. You have to make sure that it's seeing what you want it to see. So I always say microphones are external ears we send on our behalf to pick the signal for us. So if we don't let them hear from the right place, it probably will not get the kind of sound you're looking to get. So placement is king over there. So you do line check. After that, there's one of the few um, I think we have two more. Yeah, we have two more things to talk about. So from the line check, we talk about a very crucial step that it changes everything. Sound check. So you don't want to have a sound check, and I mean you don't want to run an event without having
The woes of a sound engineer without sound check. I'll write my
it's
chronicles one day.
it's good. And this a little with my experience. Anytime I happen to run an event and I don't have sound check, everything is like, what am I going to start with? That's I always think, hey, what am I going to start with? Are we going to push this first? And you just don't know what to start with because you've not done a sound check. But it happens at some event you don't have that time, and it's not a good practice. It's not a good practice. With that one, it's not good. That happens. And my philosophy for sound check is sound check as many times as you can. Don't say, oh, we do sound check once. And no, if there's time to do 10 sound checks, Charlie, do 10 sound checks. Because at the end of the day, you are paid to do sound. You're not paid to just finish so early. You are paid to work. If you can do, okay, are we good to go for the sound time? I think I'm having little. Please check for me. Are we good to go?
Yes, we are good to go. We are good to go.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, so, okay, I think it came from my end. I think they alerted me that the time is up. But anyway, we'll finish up very soon. So the sound check process, you'd have to make sure that. And one thing about sound check is, I see it two ways, from the monitor perspective and the front of house perspective. So from the monitor perspective, you're making sure that everyone on stage is super fine, and that is critical. So usually we do it this way. We start with a sound check on the monitor and go to the front of house. And usually this is what happens. When you go to front of house, you open it, and boom, everything is haywire, and it's like, I'm hearing the house now, that kind of thing. So you see, it's a combination of two things. So you have to just relax. You get it right. Just relax. So just relax. So you just have to make sure that you are pushing the right information they need, not just pushing every information they need in the monitor. And usually that cleans up a lot on stage in terms of sound quality, because if the stage is very loud, the mics don't pick exactly what it's supposed to pick. It ends up picking other things because the mics are quite sensitive to a lot of signal. So with the sound check, make sure they are fine. And with the sound check happens, when the sound check happens at front of house, your goal is simple. Make sure that the audience enjoy themselves. So if you're having an event and the audience is not enjoying themselves in front of house, it means that you probably shouldn't be paid at that time.
How about that?
Yeah, yeah. But that your purpose is to make sure they have a good time over there, and the artist who has a good time over there. There are some rough times that happen. But I always believe that push yourself till you can achieve what everyone wants to achieve and more.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's what.
Caleb,
Yeah,
let me give a shout out. Take a sip of water. Let me give a shout out to some of the people watching us and
sure,
having their
sure.
questions here. Samuel Tete, Festus Asaria Kufo, Moses Kafi Nuseto, Chris Kekeli, Chris Events, Charlie, we salute,
Yeah.
we salute Benajima and Gadiel Della Ayuvo, bro, we salute you. And Gadiel, you are doing a good job, thanks. Strong Eagle Zolali, our boss, and Phil Nanakwesi. Now, Caleb, with all these said,
Yeah.
with all this said, Nisetor is asking, Moses is asking that, can we touch on church services, how a sound engineer should go about the service and the choir and the pastors? Nisetor, let me first say this, that honestly speaking, all that we are saying about here, it borders on church, it borders on events, it borders on everything that we're talking about. So if you're a sound engineer or your church engineer is not doing some of these things right, I believe it's time you take a very good note for that sound engineer out of what we are discussing right now. Because it has become a notion that, as for church sound, the tier, I mean, all that we need to do is just... So Caleb, Moses is asking, can we touch on some of these things? Can you channel it into our church service and events that we have in the church auditoriums so that we take very keen interest in that, or they take a very solid points out of it?
Oh, sure. So for me as an audio engineer, I like to look at it this way. I like to look at it as audio engineer, not too much about segmenting them. Okay, this is this kind of event, this is that kind of event. I like to look at it as audio engineer because the solution I'm giving is audio engineering solution. The main differences that comes is that the heads of the different worlds changes when you come to the, let's say, the church scene. It's a pastor that calls the shot. When it comes to the event scene, it's the manager. So that changes, but the quality of work should translate in as much as you change your areas of work. And how do we translate this to church? I think all the things I said pretty much hold for both sides, church or non-church environment. I think it holds for it. Yeah, you can't say you have a different character at church. You can't say you have a different character outside church. You should have a good character everywhere. You should have a good persona everywhere. That kind of vibe. So I think he's trying to talk about how to. I think what he's talking about will be solved with communication and networking with the musicians, understanding the goal of the pastor. So in this case, you need to understand what the pastor wants to achieve from a church service. There are some churches you go and you do something, you're like, oh, sound is too soft, like it's too down.
Powered.
Let's feel it power. So you need to understand that, oh, don't get too offended. Oh, okay, fine. We have enough space. Let's push. You go to some churches and they are like, it is too loud. So you see how the worlds are different. The same church environment, but the world, everyone has a different. So, oh, it's too loud. Bring it down. Okay, if you want to stay there and sustain there, you need to learn their way of living. That's what I believe. If you want to stay there and sustain there, learn the way of living, and you would have a good time over there. So I think you need to engage the pastors, you need to engage the choir, and get close to them. You need to understand some things even outside music about them. You need to know, okay, sometimes you need to know the best foods they like so that after an event or after a church service, you go have some food.
So, bro, I think there you have it. Somebody is asking, please, what is parching? Some of us don't know that big word. That's from Strong Eagle Zolali. What is parching? I know. What is
Okay, so
parching?
parching has
When we were talking about creating your prepping for your input and output patching. Okay, he's asking what is patching. Can you touch on what patching is briefly in less than 30 seconds?
okay. So patching is more like taking one thing from where it is to, let me say, the destination. So,
Sure.
example, if I want to patch this microphone to an active speaker, all I need to do is to do what? Connect this microphone with a cable to the active speaker of the input. So it's more like the process of connecting the microphone to the speaker is the patching process.
Right.
So I think it's not just for microphone and speaker scenario, but it works for any other scenario.
So Strong Eagle, as you heard Caleb, once you are taking something from a cable or any connection from one point to its desired destination so that you can get the desired result, that is patching. It could be input, it could be output. All right, so that is patching.
That's it. It should be very not to go into too much like wording, but you could also to use a word called routing. Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like the path in which you are taking the signal through. It's like how you routing the signal from where to where, or from where to where, like in and out. So yeah, you could see it like that.
Okay. So Strong Eagle, your question is duly answered. Now, Caleb, we are getting to the end of the show, towards the tail end of the show. But let me remind viewers that Caleb happens to be the audio engineer for Streamline Pro Audio and an audio tutor for iMix, Intimate Mix, which is a sound school located in Accra. And this program is also proudly brought to you by MSAP Music and IT Services, as well as Design Impact. So I promise you, Caleb will be back here next week again. So as the time is approaching, we will be ending very soon. So if you have any question or any comment, any topic that you want us to discuss, basically, I've told you that Sound Basic is all about doing why you do what you do, and how to do it right, okay? So that is for Sound Basics. And trust me, some of these preparations that Caleb and I are talking about this afternoon, most people don't get it. And they just go about doing things the way they want it or the way they think should be done, which is not so. So Caleb will be here next week again for us to delve a bit deeper into other items here. So Caleb, as we are trying to get to the end of the show, can we have some final words from you? What again inspires you to do what you do? And then finally, your final words for our viewers, and then we draw a curtain to a close.
Wow, that's a part of that. Sometimes it's a bit tough to do. When you say final words, it's like a lot of words come into mind. Final words, but let's see how it goes. So I think final words, what keeps me going? It's what keeps me going. It's a lot of things, because I've come to realize that not one thing that keeps, like, you need to get every other area spiced up. The first thing is your spiritual life. It's very important. You have to have a source where you
very deep spiritual life.
Well, the truth is that with most of the ideas I get it through moments of let me say of time with my creator. So it's very crucial for me. I don't joke with things of God, because you can't joke with it. Right? And that's where I get most of my inspiration. And it will shock you that sometimes get inspirations even to how to go about a kind of connection, and you use it on the event, and boom, the thing it takes the system to the next level. So I think the first thing you have to make sure that Charlie have a good spiritual source and have a very be serious about it. Don't just take it on a lighter note. Be serious about it. Be serious about it. So that will be it for the spiritual side. And when it comes to character, when it comes to person, when it comes to attitude, keep a positive attitude around you. Trust me, it's not easy to keep a positive attitude, especially in a lot of situations around us. But you have to keep a positive attitude. Know how to encourage people. It's just nice to encourage someone. It doesn't take anything outside you. It makes you better. Encourage people and just keep a positive vibe around you anytime you are with people. You don't want to have a time with someone and you've not really impacted anything into someone. So I think impact is key on this journey. And make sure, Charlie, whatever you find your hands doing, do it very well. As Proverbs 22:29 will tell you, whatever you find your hands doing, do it very well. Be diligent, and it tells you in Proverbs 22 verse 29 that yes, that a man diligent in his business, he shall stand before kings and not mere men. And if you want to stand before kings and serve kings, you need to be a king yourself. You get it? So you need to take what you are doing seriously. So don't take what you are doing for granted. Go a step ahead every time you have an event. Don't settle for less. And I saw it saying somewhere that you are as good as your last event. What's your last event? Can you be proud to say that, hey, this is my last event. This is what I am good at because of my last event. If you're not good at that, it means that, Charlie, you are not growing. You want the next event to be as better as possible as
sharp.
Yeah, so that's it. So that'll be my kind of last word. And,
wow.
All in the video, so if you go back and
wow,
what we're talking about.
Powerful. Daddy.
To me, but shout out to my Baba.
fellow Ghanaian Baba.
You're a good guy,
fellow Ghanaian Baba. Okay. Charlie, you do okra. Oh, somebody is asking, the live is asking, with the new digital norm, how do you mix for online broadcasting and online streaming? Della, we will be coming your way with this very special edition. Once we are in almost every, once we are in the new normal times, we will be bringing to you the very essentials of online broadcasting and streaming. And I know Caleb will also be there to do justice to that. As we've all been sharing ideas here and there, I will be doing justice to that. And come next week, Caleb will be here again with me on this line. And then the following week, let me give you a lineup of the weeks ahead. Clue Andrew of Cummings Studios will also be on the hot seat with me here. And then after Caleb, that is after Caleb's week, which is next week, Clue Andrew of Cummings Studio will be here. And then the following week, which is the 4th week from today, will be Daniel Oti Sapon. So those of you who are in the studios, you want to have the basics of your studio productions, I mean, get rest assured that Oti will do justice to that for you. All the basics that you need to learn and know about your studio production. Oti is an experienced studio engineer. And as we move on, Danny Bassi of Bassi Mix, he will also be joining us. So we have just started. We have just started. And it's going to be getting bigger and hotter as Caleb has opened the door like this. Charlie, pressure, crowd, pressure. Caleb do all today, Charlie. My boss, God bless you. So, Seshi Nyamado said, spiritual life and growth, very necessary. Yes, it's very necessary. Yes, Seshi, God bless you too for tuning in. And Samuel Tete says, Pastor Tone. Pastor Tone, I love that one, Pastor Tone. So, Yes, and Dela, you'll be here some. Definitely, you'll be here some. You'll be here some. When you are coming, you bring the wing. You bring the wing, and we'll demonstrate it right here on Back to the Sound Basics. It's going to get hotter and bigger. All right, so a very big shout out to Dennis and Exclu, Senior Julius, and all the big guys at the sound booth. God bless you all. God bless you all for pushing this agenda, and definitely we'll all be clamoring to the highest point with this agenda. So in case you missed from the point or from the very beginning, let me summarize all that Caleb said. He said, one, you just have to understand the music of the artist. Understanding the music of the artist is very key. You just have to know this as your ethics, as a sound engineer or as a sound man who is into production. Understand the music of the artist is very key. Create a very good network. Create a very good network. And then the third point says that you have to take charge of the gig by getting familiar with the venue, the power, the players, the gears, and how they all go out to be, or they ought to be done. All right? And then you also have to have an idea about your console prep or your console preparations, your positioning, your input and output routing or patching, as we explained, that where you need to put what, okay? And then you have to know the power consumption and the power preparation as to whether the power of the auditorium can even match up to the gadgets and the gears that you have placed there. As well as, if you really want a very good prep, you have to do offline prep using some offline show file editors as well, okay? Which we've been doing a lot. In fact, in these days, if you really want a good show, that's what you need to do before you get to the show time. All right, you also have to know your input and your output patching, as well as your line check and your sound check. And he made a very profound statement that if you really want to get a very good show, make sure your sound check is done in multiple times. Even if you have the opportunity to do 10 times of sound check, do it, and do it, and do it again. And I believe you have a very good show. Caleb, these are profound statements and profound works from you. Bro, I really appreciate our friendship. I really appreciate you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you so much.
I think I'll say some shout out to Pastor Kakrawa Jr.
Wow. Oh, PJ.
I'm sure he's around. I'm sure he's around. I don't say he's been one of the guys that he's bridged the gap for a lot of us.
Exactly, bro. He's really done a good job. I love him. I love him from the day I met him.
And open up their crib for you to come in and experience it. And shout out to him. And to all the amazing guys, Charlie, the guys on the sound booth page, Charlie, you guys are massive.
Charlie, they're doing it well. They make the thing happen. They make the thing happen.
Guys, it will shock you that we have a lot of professional audio engineers here in Ghana. It will shock you. We have a lot of great guys.
Caleb, a very quick one before you move. You go on. You sign out finally. I know you are now. I don't know whether you are the agent or the brand ambassador for Mag Audio. Senior Julius, thanks for reminding me.
Okay.
Is there anything you can talk about Mag Audio GH? Can you share or throw a little light about it, and also throw a little light about on iMix and Streamline Pro Audio?
That's interesting. So I had a rare opportunity to manage the brand Mag Audio in Ghana for them. It's an European company, and Charlie, I didn't know they were there till I found them. When I found them, I read a little about them and noticed that, hey, these guys, they happen to be the brains behind most of the large-scale stuff we see, and they used to specialize in magnet design and other stuff, and they reached a point that they broke into designing speakers proper, because magnet is one of the main things of a loudspeaker. So I decided, okay, why not give them a shot? And I think they've been good since day one. And I think you need to hear Mag. You need to hear and experience it. I always say when you listen to Mag, it changes your perspective to audio.
Mag is big.
Yeah, so that's Mag Ghana. You could send a DM to me. We talk more about MAG Audio, our product lineup. We have products for everything. We have products from cinema, conference rooms to large scale arena, everything. So that's a little about MAG Audio Ghana. And the good thing about MAG Audio is that we are powered by PowerSoft. So PowerSoft is one of the world's leading amplifier companies, which it does excellent work in amplification. Yeah, so that's about Audio Ghana.
Wow. That's powerful. So guys, go out there and get yourself Mag Audio. Mag GH is home. I see you. He said tone head count. All right, now Charlie, you sure for the... Anyway, so it pains me that we are signing off, or we are signing out from now. It's painful. But hey, man must sign out so that others can also come through. All right. Josiah Wallace, Uncle Wallace, Charlie, we salute. So this is MSAP Music, back to the sound basics, all right? With me, MSAP, and then my guest for today is Caleb Ashon Katai. Please share the audio and share the whole thing until it reaches to the last person who is starting sound engineering today. God bless you, and God bless you, and God bless you once again. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, MSAP Music on YouTube channel. And then you subscribe. You also follow us on Facebook, MSAP Music. God bless you. Next week will be another wonderful time with me and Caleb Ashon Katai once again. God bless you and have a good day. Enjoy your day. Leave your questions and your comments coming through, and we'll answer them as we patch out. God bless you. I'm out.